Here's a segment from this month's edition of St. Charles Parish Today, a new monthly local talk show. The American Red Cross is a huge nonprofit organization tasked with providing food, water, and shelter in the aftermath of disasters, natural or otherwise. In Southeast Louisiana, we became intimately familiar with the organization after Hurricane Katrina. But the Red Cross operates here locally at all times, offering first aid classes and more through its office in Maryland Drive in Luling. And of course, the Red Cross relies heavily on its many valued volunteers. Here with more information is Southeast Louisiana Chapter CEO Kay Wilkins and Bayou River Region Emergency Services Department Coordinator Stanley Keller. Thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thanks for asking us.
Yeah, thanks for having us here.
Thank you. So tell us a little bit about the main goals of the Red Cross.
Well, you want me to take that?
Go ahead, take that one.
Well, the main goal of the Red Cross is to help people prepare for, plan, and respond to emergencies. And we do this every day through the help of volunteers, whether we're teaching a first aid class, a CPR class, swimming, or responding to disasters, or getting ready and preparing to respond to disasters. So we do all of this with one person in our Bayou Region office and many, many, many volunteers.
Okay.
Let me add to that. In
Sure.
Southeast Louisiana, we have 13 different parishes, and every 13 minutes we're responding to a disaster somewhere.
Wow.
Excuse me, every 13 hours we're responding to a disaster somewhere in our chapter.
Wow. And that's anything from house fires to chemical spills, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. What role do volunteers play in the Red Cross? I know it's a huge part of it.
It is a huge part. In fact, Stanley came to us first as a volunteer years ago as part of our disaster action team. Basically, volunteers are our hands and our heart. They put the donations we receive in the community into action. We have volunteers that respond in the middle of the night to house fires. We have volunteers that help us when we're teaching classes, volunteers that are helping us in pools, volunteers now that are helping us with recovery efforts and education. We have been told to prepare for a very active hurricane season. We have volunteers now that are helping us train other volunteers to manage any shelters we may need to open, and we have volunteers out in the community teaching people how to be safe with any disaster.
In fact, at this time, we have volunteers out at one of the chemical plants handing out materials to getting the United Way kicked off in that particular plant. We're actually handing out materials and telling them a little bit about what we do. We also, when I left, I have a volunteer at the office handling the phone right now. We also have volunteers that make phone calls to let other volunteers know about the meetings and the upcoming training that we have. Mm-hmm. So volunteers play a very active part.
And it sounds like you could
agency.
do something that's kind of in your expertise field too.
You can, or some people come to us and say, yeah, I just don't want to do that. I want to do something totally different.
Right.
And one of the things that Stanley will do, and we'll do in our office, our other offices that we have, is we'll sit down with persons and we'll talk about what it is they want to have happen as a result of them volunteering. Do they want to work in the office? We'll find jobs for them. Do they want to be out in the community? Well, as Stanley said, we'll find a place for them. Do they want to take our on-call phone and respond in the middle of the night? Those are the ones we treasure, and certainly we'll take that call and hand them our phone and help them be the shoulder to lean on in the community. We just really couldn't do what we do in this area without volunteers.
Definitely. So what about those folks out there who maybe have 1 or 2 hours to give a week?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, volunteers, we'll take the volunteers no matter how much time they can give. If you want to give 1 or 2 hours a week, we have some clerical work, we have telephone calls that could be made, we have different things that you could do in the office to work. In fact, with volunteers, we'll take you and let you put as much time as you want. As Kay said, my wife and I got started with the Red Cross some 23 years ago. I was just recently hired this year. But as Red Cross volunteers, we'll let you get involved as much as you want. Mm-hmm. We train, my wife and I trained along with others and became leaders in the function that we were serving in the community. Whenever we had a disaster take place, we were there ready to help to lead that organization. But yet we also take volunteers and cherish the volunteers that come in that can get just trained just in any function. That way, if we do have a big operation that goes on, as these people from out of town, out of state come in, They know the inner work. Our local volunteers know the inner workings of the Red Cross, and they help us to gather the information that we need, which was part of my function, and also get the help to the people who are suffering from disaster in a much quicker time, because these volunteers that we have know a little bit about what we're doing, and they can go out and take these people who are really expert in their field to get the help to the people that really need it.
So you're saying it's very critical to have local people here that know the area, know what goes on in a disaster to direct others.
It's very critical to have local people help us in a disaster. As Stanley mentioned, in big disasters, we can have Red Cross volunteers come in from all over the country. But who knows better where Paul Mallard Road is than someone who lives here in St. Charles Parish? Who knows where Destrehan is? Who knows how to get across the river? Who knows where the best place to get ice is, for instance? Those are the volunteers and our locals who really do make a difference for us in helping get community services out as quickly as possible, so that when an event happens like a flood or a tornado or a hurricane, we're able to get the community back up on its feet as quickly as possible because we've got community people helping us.
Exactly. So if people want to get more information, what number can they call? Who can they go speak to?
Okay, Stanley.
They can call the local number, 985-785-0647, or they can go to our Red Cross site.
www.arcno.org.
Right, and there they can download the volunteer applications and get those filled out. Or if they come into the office, we'll go ahead and get them filled out and get them started with the training. We'll give them the first class that we take is fulfilling our mission. This lets them see what the Red Cross is all about and see in what direction they might want to volunteer. And then we go from there.
Very good. And y'all have a Facebook page too.
We have a Facebook page and we have Twitter, so you can follow us wherever we go. We certainly are telling the world about it and telling, more importantly, our community.
Right.
So get people to join us. Give us a call.
All righty. Thank you very much for coming in and telling us about what you guys do, and hopefully we'll get some more local people involved.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Catch the entire episode right here on Channel 6, daily at 5 p.m. or watch anytime at scptoday.com.